let's get to the boy.
Oh my God, so much to get to, man.
Let's get to the boy.
From the album art to
Album
tracks.
came on a Valentine's Day night for the lovers.
Okay, I really want to start off with the things that we knew in the beginning. We saw the title, the cover, and the track list, all that. Before you even press play, I feel like there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about people accusing Drake and partynextdoor of stealing Freddie Gibbs' aesthetic with the dollar signs and the rabbit?
And the building too, right? The buildings.
I feel
That
like
was for another, which we'll get in like a subsection. That's for John River, a Canadian artist. He said that he stole from them. But for the Freddie Gibbs thing, he was mostly talking about the dollar signs and the rabbit thing.
Rabbits. Yeah.
I keep up with Freddie Gibbs, and he does use carrots, rabbits, dollar signs. He's absolutely done that before. However, I think whatever Drake and P&D did looked different in resemblance and on the visuals. If I'm Freddie Gibbs, though, I would definitely say that.
I don't know. I saw this tweet when everyone was talking about that early on, when people weren't even talking about the music yet. They were just talking about this.
Yeah.
I saw like a tweet that was like, "Oh my God, now Freddie Gibbs owns dollar signs and rabbits." No, but I thought that too was annoying because it's like, no, he doesn't own dollar signs and no one owns like rabbits, but to do it together, like, isn't that such an obvious
It could be
copying? Like, is that not?
It does
did he
kind of
not
look like it.
It looks like it. My thing is, I don't know the relationships between Freddie Gibbs and the Drake or partynextdoor. Everything's on the table for me, Reggie. I'll be honest with you. We know nothing.
Yeah.
I hate that's the internet. We try to make it seem like we know the personal relationships or work relationships between these people. We don't know shit.
Yeah.
Now, but again, if I'm Freddie Gibbs and I might have a relationship or two with some of these people, yeah, I might say something because I've been using that. But me personally, I've got no clue.
For me, it's the combo of the two things that's like, yo, this is, to me, it was very like blatantly like, yeah, this is what I do, and you guys just did it. Like,
For me, it would be the why.
yeah, like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, I think Drake has a lot more on his plate, respectfully, than Freddie
Than
Gibbs.
to go at Freddie Gibbs.
That-
Yeah. It
personally,
was weird.
I
I
thought
don't
you
know.
pulled his
Yeah.
inspiration from Maul with the money signs.
Okay, yeah, they're cool.
Honestly,
but Maul-
like,
Nah, Raw
Is he
used
money
bags.
signs or money bags?
Bags.
okay,
Okay.
true.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, oh, maybe the affiliation. I don't know.
And two, Freddie Gibbs has a bunch of different tracks. Like one's called Big Boss Rabbit, Space Rabbit, Rabbit Island, and Rabbit Vision. Tracks that are on his albums.
And his last album was called Sold Separately.
Yep.
Yeah,
With the dollar
Triple S.
signs.
With the dollar-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there may not be a coincidence. There may be. Like Alex said, if I'm Freddie Gibbs, I'm definitely going to call it out. I'm definitely going to feel away. It's not like Freddie Gibbs isn't a notable artist to where it's not in Drake's radius, right? To some degree. It's not impossible. So I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, like there's no copyright infringements.
No.
It's
I just think you
very
kind of
similar.
steal sauce. And we know Drake steals sauce. Like artists steal sauce from each other. So maybe he just felt like, hey, a lot of people, this may go unnoticed. Maybe it was somebody on his team. We don't know. Like Alex said, we really don't know. But could have been a coincidence. And it was very fitting because it was around Valentine's Day. Before we even get into the music, what I'll say is, I mentioned Ja Rule earlier.
Yeah, you did.
And I listened to this album multiple times. There's some standout songs.
21 tracks.
We'll break down some of the songs and our thoughts on the songs. But from jump, Kendrick Lamar did what 50 Cent did to Ja Rule. And what I mean by that, obviously Drake, his career is still going to go on. I think a lot of people may associate 50 with ending Ja Rule's career. That's up for you to determine. I'm not here to debate that. Cool, whatever. You feel how you feel. But what he ultimately did for most people was change how you hear Ja Rule. For me, that's what I think Kendrick has done. Now that the dust is kind of settled on this whole beef, like Drake is always gonna make great music. There's always gonna be songs that you could take from his albums, features, and be like, yo, this sounds really fucking good. That's undeniable at this point. A little redundant, sure, whatever, artistry, we'll get into that. But I can't listen or hear Drake with the same ears because of the battle with Kendrick.
Even if it's R&B? When it comes to rap, I might understand a rap fan be like, oh, it's hard for me to listen to him. Even when it comes to R&B, though, you still feel the same way?
Yeah,
Really?
I do.
I'm
Not
mad
me.
Kendrick did that to you. Yeah.
I do.
I'm
I do.
I'm just listening to Drake's music.
It's good music. It's
Okay.
like, it's still, I'm not saying it's bad.
But no, I'm just,
But
you're
just
looking at it
shit.
different.
I can't
Like
hear
you're
them the
thinking of the
same.
beef.
I'm just thinking, like, yeah. Like, what this did for me, it put on full display, and I think I might have mentioned this last week, but they are just running two different races. And
for sure.
The audience that Kendrick was playing to was the audience that accepted Drake for just what he was and who he's been over the last however many years, right? But then this beef, you kind of separate the two, and it's like, no, Drake is playing in this lane, Kendrick is playing in this lane, right? Is no more combining the two. You have to kind of separate it when it comes from artistry, when it comes from just what it is to be a quote unquote top rapper.
Yeah,
so
but statistically, they're still gonna battle.
Yeah, and statistics is not like the statistics is like the smoke and mirrors part of it. We know bots, we know marketing dollars. Sure. I'm literally just saying, yo, when I listen to it, it gave me the Ja Rule effect to where I can't hear him in this. I just can't. But it doesn't mean it's bad. And I like Drake, and he's probably still gonna be top 3 artists in my Apple, Spotify, wrap up, whatever. But it did do that to me.
That's interesting. I could definitely understand it when it comes to the raps, right? Kendrick Lamar, he was very strategic. Mm-hmm. He was even surgic, the way he kind of dissected at Drake and maybe some potential insecurities or maybe what he saw in Drake. But when it comes to R&B music, that's always kind of been his bag. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm kind of upset for you, bro. Damn, he wasn't even able to just
listen to the music.
To R&B music.
Bro, I've never categorized Drake as either R&B or hip hop. Drake has just been Drake. I don't listen to his slow songs, ballads.
Group it all together.
Yeah, I don't say,
fair.
this is R&B Drake. He's not an R&B artist. I think he's just had the ability to dive in all these different lanes. It's like when he does a reggae song or dance hall, whatever. Like, I don't count that as dance hall Drake. That's just Drake. When he's on a song with Bad Bunny, I'm not equating that to him being a Latin artist because, no, like, he's just Drake. He is who he is. So I've never heard Jaded and felt like, this is an R&B song. No, this is just Drake being Drake.
Okay.
So I only hear him in a singular way. I don't divvy him up genre-wise. So when I hear him in general, that's how I dissect it. Like, oh shit, Kendrick just kind of shifted my perspective on how I hear and digest his music, for me. But you've always been that guy. You've always said, I love R&B Drake. I'm not really a fan of gangsta rap Drake. Yeah. I just see Drake as being Drake, so it's hard for me to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not listening to the R&B thinking about Kendrick. I just hear Drake. Yeah, that's just Drake.
I get what you're saying. I get like your reasoning and your point. For me though, like when I'm listening to some sexy songs for you, I'm like not thinking about Kendrick and like what happened. I think it's just for the sake of like wanting to hear music and just kind of not being over the beef, but like in the same way during the beef where we could be like, oh, Drake lost, Kendrick won, whatever. We talked about it on the pod. And just being like, but I'm not gonna stop listening to Drake's music or pick a side. Like I'm just trying to listen to this album. Like I wasn't really thinking about what happened. Honestly,
yeah, I was definitely interested to see what direction what direction he went into, if anything different. For me, some sexy songs for you. It started off very, what's the word I would use? Slow, but also like everything sounded the same.
I do think so too. I didn't know if I really wanted to think about it because I'm like, is that a lazy just opinion, because I feel like everyone's saying that, but I re-listened to it.
Yeah,
I do think it sounded a little like similar, like the first 5 songs.
Yeah.
How many times did we listen to the album?
4 times.
4 times?
Yeah.
About 2, and then I put it on shuffle.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know how many times in completion.
It didn't pick up for me until deeper.
Okay, but we definitely heard it more than one time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny. They always say sometimes you need to be in the correct setting.
For sure.
To digest certain types of music, to really try to understand maybe where the artist was coming from. And I absolutely subscribe to that when it comes to this project. First time I heard it, I was in my bed. And
by yourself?
Yeah, by myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to 2 funerals in 2 weeks. It's been a lot, you feel me? So maybe my headspace when I was listening to it, I was literally preparing to go to something solemn in the morning. So when I first played it, it didn't move me. Similar to what Regi and Pierre were saying, it felt very slow. And I made a big deal about the snippet that they had put out and had teased when I think it was mainly partynextdoor singing. I came in here and I was like, fam.
Oh, yeah.
The first snippet.
The first snippet.
When Drake was in a club, looked like
when Drake was sitting down in that sectional, I came in and I didn't like it. However, it rained the next day.
It did, the Saturday, right?
Yes, it
did.
Yes.
And then we were driving around.
And I had somewhere to drive to. And boy,
it hit.
That rain with that pain. Ooh.
Overcast day.
Ooh. Ooh, that rain with that pain. Now, similar to what you guys were saying, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
The album does not start for me until track 5.
Okay.
That is Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
Superman.
Yeah.
I love that. I think SaVon and I was saying this a couple weeks back. When it comes to Drake's next releases, he has to be undeniable. I think I went into this project looking for that. Like, damn, 21 songs, you linked up with partynextdoor, you're gonna really go for the gusto, you're really gonna try. So maybe I felt a little underwhelmed on my first listen because I was just expecting for him to be undeniable and understand the moment, right? And understand the severity of what's going on right now.
At least what we're expecting from him.
Or maybe what we were expecting from him.
Yeah.
So when I was finally got the chance to listen to it in the rain, absolutely enjoyed the album way, way more. For me though, like I said, the album starts at about track 5, and I love Spider-Man, Superman, Deeper with partynextdoor, starting to grow on me.
Yeah.
Small Town Fame, not really a big fan of it. Pimmy's Dilemma.
Fire.
Can we stop?
They weren't on it, thank God.
See that's crazy.
Nah, because whoever Pimmy
weren't
killed
on
it.
it. Yeah,
Nah,
Pim-
fire.
you're
Shout
right.
out to Pimmy.
Pimmy killed that.
Do you see how all of our reactions to that
Oh
song?
my God.
Yeah, Pimmy
the
killed that.
acoustic.
That was.
Oh my God.
Do you see how we all reacted? It was undeniable.
Pim. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
we didn't have to think about
Yeah.
whether we liked it or not, or
Yeah.
maybe if we're overthinking or underthinking. That's how I know we're not bugging when it comes to what we're looking for.
That's
out
a
of
good
it,
song.
right? Great song.
I got a question for you about
I'm
that.
listening. I'm listening.
Do you think? Because as I was listening to that,
Yeah.
Pim killed it, right?
Smoked it.
But I can't lie. I was thinking about SZA.
Yeah, it's
I
in that
said-
vein.
Sounded.
I said to myself, like, do you think he, if at all, meant that for SZA, but because of everything that was going on, couldn't use SZA?
Like
I
I
don't
said,
think so. I think no, because Drake always has like this
Interludes.
one like female artist on his project, like Georgia or Naomi, like that he likes to put on. I feel like that he did that as well on this
Yeah.
album.
Yeah,
I agree.
I would have loved to hear SZA on that.
yeah. And there was another song he did. We'll get to it in a second. Where I'm like, yo, this sounds like a SZA B-side, right? But anyway, like I was saying, Pimmy's Dilemma is just undeniable for most people that I've bumped into that have spoken about the album, etc. We got to Brian Steele. And Brian Steele, if you guys don't know, that is Young Thug's lawyer. He helped Young Thug get out of jail, of course. And
Another great white.
another great white, yeah. Young Thug didn't have to face those RICO charges thanks to him. And I got a bit confused because I think this is the record where he's like, yo, Brody's telling me to forget about the beef, but I can't.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, I'm like, dog, this ain't the time for this.
Yeah.
I know he's potentially going to give us a solo rap album soon, right? He said it on stage. He said, hey, we're going to talk personally soon.
In Australia.
And when he was on Australia, right. So I know he's going to speak to us personally. I think maybe that's a record you would save for that. But I think the biggest thing for me was that we've never received an R&B project from Drake. So going into that thinking, I was just assuming that we would receive some of the best R&B music that we've ever received from Drake. Was I crazy to think that?
Yes.
Why?
Wait, say the thought again?
Wait, I don't know because, well,
This is the first R&B project
it
we
is,
received from him.
but it's with a whole other artist. It's not like a Drake.
Yeah, but
Drake
it's with-
saying like, "Hey, this is my R&B debut album."
But it's
I feel
with-
like that's very different.
Yeah, but it's with partynextdoor.
When
Yeah,
has he
Partynextdoor
ever?
Who
has
does R&B
No, but
music?
partynextdoor has a very specific sound.
And when
Like-
has he ever given Partynextdoor his best efforts?
They've had great efforts together.
Mm,
Oh shit, pain over here.
no, I'm just like we've seen the narrative around Partynextdoor and Drake has been how he's kind of capped, limited Partynextdoor, right? A lot of people used to say that around him in The Weeknd. How if The Weeknd didn't get from under Drake, he probably would have done so. Like we've all seen this around OVO artists.
Yeah.
Is there seems to be some type of limit whenever you're under Drake or in that camp. And that was the accusations between him and Party before this album. And a lot of people felt when he first announced it, like, oh, now Party's trying to you're trying to get him to save you.
Right.
So I didn't expect him to come out with his greatest music with Party.
Just R&B.
I didn't.
Well,
But I know they were going to be good regardless because
Yeah.
both of them are good regardless.
No, you're right. Maybe I just take wording seriously.